Sun Tzu famously said in The Art of War, know yourself and you will win all battles. Today, we're going to look at what that means for Jiu Jitsu. So if you want to get a better understanding of how to build a successful personalized game that is custom made for your personality, body type, age, and temperament, stick around for episode 12, Playing to Your Strengths.
This is the Black and Blue podcast. My name is the influencer Travis Earlham. I'm here with the Canadian tree stump, Emmett McPartland. And we're going to stick with that nickname for the rest of his life.
Awesome. Perfect. Okay, so yeah, in this episode, we're going to dive into the concept of playing with your strengths, or playing to your strengths. Sorry, don't play with your strengths. That's wrong.
Yeah, all this sound weird in the podcast, but we're just going to keep it in there.
Yeah, don't play with your strengths, play to them. What that really means for jiu-jitsu, how to identify your physical and mental assets, and why trying to copy someone else's game might be holding you back. We'll explore body type, personality, mindset, how all those things shape your style, and maybe even what top athletes and coaches have said about tailoring your game and how to balance specialization with adaptability. So whether you're a new white belt or a seasoned black belt, this one's about embracing who you are. If that's the Canadian tree stump.
Forever known.
Yeah.
I love it. I love this topic. I was thinking about it ever since we mentioned it. I was like, yes, because my style has evolved and changed so many times. And it's went from pressure heavy, because that was my original coach. And it was like, oh yeah, I should do that. And then it was like, well, no, let's play a different game. And then I started playing so many different games, and then coaching also evolved my game because I had to learn so many other ways of either teaching or showing people their strengths, even though they're not my strengths. So I was really excited about this topic.
Yeah, I think, and we'll get into that too, about the role a coach plays too in identifying and helping you grow your own, find your path and grow along that path.
Yeah.
One thing, kind of a personal anecdote that I wanted to share that got me thinking about this topic was we had that guy Nick visiting from Colombia.
Yep.
I think his gym's called Colombia MMA. Right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Really nice guy, 4-stripe blue belt, I think. Big dude.
Big dude, gi heavy. He was training for Worlds, so he was maybe or not Worlds, Jiu Jitsu Con. That's where the older guys play, I guess.
Okay.
And he was amped up for the gi side of things there.
Yeah. And big dude, bigger than me.
Oh yeah. He was easily 250.
Yeah, big dude. And I was rolling with that guy, and he kind of stopped me midway through, and he's like, "Why are you being so nice with pressure?" And I kind of went to answer, and he's like, "I'll tell you why. You're being too nice because you're so used to rolling with smaller people that you're not laying on the pressure because you want to make it fair, and don't do that." He was like, obviously, if you're rolling with a teenager or a brand new white belt, smash.
Oh, I mean, be nice.
Yeah, but he was like, and then he showed me some ways to really lean into the pressure game. And that kind of opened my eyes a little bit to, obviously you have to be nice, and we'll get into what it really means to, grow into your own style. But it opened my eyes, I think, a little bit to being like, why am I not doing my own thing there?
Totally. And from my point of view, what really opened my eyes was I had she must have been 100, and I know that we've mentioned it before, or maybe I've just talked about it to other people enough before that I thought I mentioned on the podcast, but we had 120-pound girl come in, and she was trying to do pressure passing stuff on me, if you were a big guy kind of pressure passing. But that's who her coach was. And that's all she kind of knew, and she was a mid-level purple. And that's what she was trying on me. I was like, all right, butterfly hook. Flip you over.
No problem.
This, you don't have it. And I was like, why are you doing this? And she's like, well, this is what I do at my club, and this is all we're really like doing there? I was like, you need to play a different game. And I told her, I was like, if you're with someone your own size,
Yeah.
run that, like run it through. That's easy.
Yeah.
If you're 120 pounds going against a 200-pound guy, you're going to have to switch it up. And one of the people that I would recommend watching is like Fiona Davies. Like,
Right.
she's top. She's the top game. Her, Helena Craver, like those two. And then any of the smaller girls too, but watch what their game, how it changes as they go against different opponents. And like you see people going against like Mackenzie Dern versus, and this was the example I gave her. You watch Mackenzie Dern versus Gabby Garcia. So 100 and I think she's 40 pounds.
Yeah.
Mackenzie Dern versus I don't even like 260. Like Gabby Garcia's
canceled for guessing.
Yeah, probably. But she had to change up her game. Even though Mackenzie Dern has an amazing like pressure game against people her own size. Like, watch these videos. Like you have to change up your style when you're going against. And they like blew her mind. She's like, "What? Really?" And I was like, "Yeah, this is where you should be going because you're not against a 120-pound girl. You're against a 200-pound guy. You got to change it up." Yeah. And then the next time I saw her, she was like flipping around and doing like crazy stuff, like, and she's like, "Yeah, I really took that to heart." And I started like video studying stuff like that, and I helped her out. I was like sending her videos, and I was like, "Watch these. These are this is what I was talking about." And nice. To her credit, she fully rearranged her game and started playing it in two different aspects. When she was against someone her own size, pressure. Someone way bigger, she was playing a way different game.
So, in that case, I guess that's sort of like adapting your style to your opponent, but also being cognizant of who you are and in relation to your opponent, right?
Yeah, and it should be on your coach too.
Right.
Your coach should let you know, hey, if you're against that 200-pound guy, you're going to have to switch up your style.
Yeah.
Your coach should not be like, my style of the road. They should be like, no, it works in this instance, but it won't work in this instance. So look at a different avenue.
Yeah. I actually, I dug up a good quote that supposedly John Danaher said, which is, a good coach doesn't give you a style. He helps you discover yours.
Definitely. And I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I discovered my own through competing so much, and I feel like I have a different style depending on who my opponent is.
Right.
But I do have a distinctive style when it comes to different, like I have different style or looks, I guess, but a distinctive style.
How would you describe your style?
Throw shit at a wall and see what sticks. Right? No, mine is, it is definitely reactive when I'm on my back. I like to react and see what I can obtain through sweeps or leg entanglements. And then proactive as soon as I get that sweep. So I go from being like, okay, how is he going to react, to making him react a certain way, or making them react in a way that furthers my position to what I want. So I like to switch it almost as soon as they're flipping over. If I can get that sweep, I switch it. If I don't get the sweep, well, then I wait to see what my openings are.
So, I think what's interesting about that is that your style, the way you're describing it, requires a certain level of expertise.
Yeah, I would say so.
So, and maybe it goes without saying, someone's style, as it develops and gains more skill, becomes more refined and becomes more clear. Is that fair to say?
I would say that's fair. I would say that's the direction you want to go almost, right? Like, the more that you define it, and the more that you define it to your physical attributes or your physical,
emotional,
all this stuff, it becomes your thing. And that's actually where you're going to become more comfortable. You're going to expend less energy if you're comfortable. And then less energy means you'll have more to give later on and stuff like that. And that's
Right.
why developing a style, or not like developing a hard style, but developing your style for you against various opponents works so well.
And you were this might have been in the Lost episode, or it might have been last episode. You were talking about, I think it was last episode, you were talking about two of the purple belts in the gym, how one is super defensive and one is super offensive.
Yep.
Not super offensive, super offensive. And I think what I find interesting about that is, in my mind, that must come from a personality trait. Like maybe one's an introvert, one's an extrovert, or one is risk averse in life, one is more of a risk taker. Do you think that's true?
I think that, yeah, definitely for those two. If you look at them, you're like, okay, it makes sense.
Right.
And then pulling out the opposite side is like pulling teeth. You're like, all right, Jeff, we're going defensive mode now. And like,
right.
It's like, let's work on all things this way. You're not even going to look at a submission. And that just like, it's like, it's one of those barriers.
Right.
But then
it's not even fun to him, probably.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But it also, once you start to play that game, and I've seen it in both of them, you're like, okay, you're only playing this game. And then they start to develop pathways within their own body types and all this other stuff that they're like, oh, I never thought of it that way. And if you have a great defense, when you're offensively minded, you should have like an amazing defense, right? Or at least a incredible scramble ability. And you start to develop that when you restrict yourself, and it just gives you more confidence in the other area, I feel.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've heard people say, probably you, I've probably heard you say that you might as well not even think about offense until you have some defense laid down or understood clearly, right?
Like the fundamentals of defense, and like, don't bring your arms away from your ribs unless like in a defensive posture, your arms or elbows close to your ribs is strong, right? Be slightly on your side, not flat on your back. That's going to be it. That's going to allow you to breathe, and just these little things. But then the idea of, I can get out of mount, I can get out of back mount, I can get out of leg entanglements, I can get out of side mount. This leads to confidence to be able to jump on an arm, jump on a neck, and be like, yeah, if I miss it, well, I can get out of the bad position if they somehow reverse it. Right?
What about, so I think, what's the role of, I guess, identifying things that feel natural or comfortable for you, or things that you gravitate towards, and where does the balance shift to from, okay, I feel comfortable doing this is where I kind of want to play, to going too far into, okay, now you're just avoiding doing things that you don't know enough about yet,
It comes from getting exposed usually. Like, if you're not self-aware enough, it's going to get exposed in roles, and people will be like, well, why do I keep getting my back taken? Why do I keep getting stuck in side mount? Right. It's like, well, what have you been focusing on? Like flying triangles. Well, cool. But if you don't have that foundation under you, you're gonna struggle in these other areas. Or if you're trying to like go really far down, let's say a Kimura trap, right? And understanding, okay, they're seated, we grab their arm, we jump, like we roll over our shoulder to grab that Kimura. Where do we go from there? And you're so invested in that you're like, you walk into certain leg entanglements because you just step in and you try and roll over, and they just capture your leg and or roll with you, or anything like that. So there are certain steps, I think, that just sparring and the nature of sparring should open up realization that, oh, okay,
I have a weakness here.
yeah, or I've went too far down this rabbit hole of
Right.
Kimura trap.
Right.
I need to take a step back, realize where the fault, like the cracks or the faults are, and then I can progress.
But it is, at least speaking from my experience, you do find things that just make sense to you, where some things are you can watch them 100 times and be like, that is Greek to me. But sometimes you see things and you're like, oh, click, click, click. I get that.
Yeah, and that's one of the great things about either video study or slow rolling, like chess sparring or rolling with your eyes closed. Just being like, okay, now I feel what that is, or okay, now I know what that is due to like slow, intentional movements. Even like restrictive sparring, being like, okay, we're always going to start in half guard. And once I get past half guard and I get to mount, then we're going to reset at half guard, and just that continuous nature of learning how to get there without just doing like my hand goes from A to B, from B to C kind of thing, like understanding these little intricacies within the techniques through sparring or through restrictive sparring or and I think that's where like this eco term comes into. And that's actually really been dying down, that whole thing.
Oh, really?
Well, just the debate, because everyone's been like, well, like a lot of people already do that. It's just not full-fledged, this is all we do.
Yeah, you're kind of over-explaining something that...
Yeah, so it's kind of cool. And on that note, hopefully we get Joey down here on the podcast. We said that in like the first few.
We've been threatening that for a while.
But it'll be good because I've been talking with him and a couple other people. But yeah, Joey from Limitless, get him on the podcast and kind of talk about his style of coaching, because it is intriguing. It's interesting. He has a lot of really good students coming out of his academy. He's a good dude. So
yeah,
I think that'll be cool.
We're ready. We have proper technology now.
We have a camera. Our mics are working.
It's great,
man.
It's like, yeah.
I'm not stressed out anymore about it. That was the worst.
Oh man, recording an entire podcast only to find that it failed.
Oh,
that hurts.
Yeah, that hurt.
That hurts. So one thing that I thought would be interesting to cover today is talking about some famous jiu-jitsu athletes who have games that really suit their temperament, body type, etc. And a couple of them are ones that we have talked about on the podcast before. But one, and it's interesting, we've never mentioned him, but Mikey Musumeci, who we've never talked about on the podcast, I don't think.
Yeah, I guess.
But flexible, technical, cerebral. He does all kinds of rolling things and barambolos and God knows what.
He's an interesting video study, because if you are looking at the most ideal person to leg lock or knee bar you, but not have to worry about getting leg locked or knee barred, it's him. Why is it him? Because he's got these short little legs, long ass torso, and long arms that can grapple this. And then he's like just incredibly fit and flexible and all this stuff.
Right.
But like his body type is like, it's like I was talking with a guy at that seminar, and he was like, what do you think about Marcelo Garcia's take on leg locks and how they're like, I was like, well, he's the greatest of all time, in my opinion. But also, he's got this little stumpy kind of body style that it would be insanely hard to get a leg lock on him in that sense, because his legs are really short. He's got a long torso. He's built like a pit bull. And it's like, yeah. But it's like, how do you get a leg lock on that guy when that leg is so short? And it's like, okay, well, he can say that.
Right.
Like, he's also extremely good, but he's not in serious threat of leg locks.
Right.
But Mikey Musumeci, like, just an incredible game. And it's instantly sit down, work at like getting under their hips, work at getting those legs, and from the legs he gets his Mikey lock and all this other stuff. And it's incredible how he implements his game plan to perfection almost every time.
And it's a unique game. It's like very unique to him.
Yeah. Like I would say him and the two brothers out of Brazil. Man, I can't remember their names. They got all like the janky hands from doing all the gi stuff. Oh man. Yeah, I can't remember. That sucks.
Just make it up.
Yeah, the two brothers from Brazil. Someone will comment. They'll be like, "You're an idiot." It's these two. I'm like, yeah.
I don't know.
They'll come to me later, but like they have a very they're similar style, but like they just let their things like they let their feet break and told like one guy just let it break. I was like, oh, and he kept going, didn't even wince, just kept competing. Crazy.
I once bent my thumb back and nothing happened to it, but I almost passed out. so I'd be like, I don't know, man. I don't have that kind of toughness.
Dude, so random side story. I was watching like highlights from one of the hockey games, and I don't know who it was, but they had been in a fight.
Yeah.
And he goes to the penalty box and he looks at his thumb and it's like out of place.
Oh.
And he pops it back into place. And I was like watching, I was like, I've done that. And like I remember in juniors, I popped my cause I I'm a southpaw, so I punched and this popped down and it was like down here in my palm. Dude. And I was like looking at it, like I was like, fine. I skated off to the penalty box because that was my home. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, huh. And I looked down, I was like, that's not meant to be like that. So I grabbed it and I yanked it and it went back up and went pop. I was like, huh. And then I like did a little wiggle test and I was like, I guess it's okay. And then by the end of the period, like, hockey gloves, how big the thumb looks.
Yeah.
Like my thumb was like fitting in that because like it was just so jank.
Oh,
like it was, man. But I didn't do anything to it and it like magically like fully
there you go
articulates.
You're practically a doctor.
I mean, this day and age, I can probably get the degree. I just have to pretend to be it, right? But yeah, just pop back in. It's like, okay, guess this is how we do it.
Another, you bring up Marcelo Garcia, like arm drags, guillotines, and like you said, short, stocky, and a totally different game. I guess there's something to be said for the old school, new school thing there, but definitely a prime example of someone who has his own game based around his personality, his body type, his experience, etc.
And it's very much play a compact game until you can get to the top and you can get one of those things. Or if they expose their neck, he jumps on it.
And what do you mean by compact? Like stay tight?
Yeah, like his out, like because he's the one that I learned all my X guard and butterfly guard stuff through books, and then years later he released instructional, and that was awesome. But like I learned all this stuff through books, and you just see him every time that he was competing, like everything was just compact. You couldn't like get on the inside with anything.
Right.
It was awesome. Like it's my body type doesn't allow that.
Right.
But I mimic it a little bit so that people can't like expose my long torso thing. And so yeah, he plays this really compact, and then he gets his butterfly hooks in. He'll fling you over his head. He'll fling you to the side. You get X guard, or he'll get a full sweep, and then he just works to get to your neck. Whether it's a rear naked choke or guillotine. His last match against Imanari, he got that, like north-south style choke.
I did see that actually. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And like he's soft spoken, he's calm.
He's like known as one of the nicest dudes.
Yeah.
In jiu-jitsu.
How does that come out in his gameplay?
You will never hear him shit talking. Right. You'll never see him push someone out of anger. He's just super calm as he's going through everything. But he also he has this amazing way to butt scoot in and snap someone down super quick. So when I watched that, I was like, it was almost like whoa. I wouldn't expect that of him because he's so soft spoken and gentle as he's doing it, but I mean, it works very, very well.
Yeah, interesting. And then you get guys like, oh man, now I'm going to forget that guy's name. The Husamar Palmares.
Yeah.
Palmares, is that what his last name?
Paul Harris.
Yes. And like just like an utter bastard at all times.
Yeah,
like
all the time.
His game is an expression of the fact that he's a mindless bastard dickhead.
Yeah, that just wants to explode your knee and never let go.
Yeah.
And keeps exploding it. And like he's being kicked out of like every single competition.
Yeah.
Gary Tonin actually had an amazing match against him. I think it was EBI. And
I think I saw that one too.
Unbelievable. And he was like, yeah, I'll go into the legs with him. I'll go into the guillotine. And he did everything that he said that he would. Also, it was the Meow Brothers. Those the janky hands guys.
Okay.
Random came back to me. But
Good.
yeah. Paul Harris, and like I like how he has like when he was like in UFC and all that, and he was like Paul Harris was like this big name. Someone made this like fake Instagram account and it was Paul Harris.
Right.
And it was just him wrecking knees and stuff.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he was a scary brute.
And gigantic dude.
Yeah.
And he has that look on his face, like, you know how like some animals are just there's just nothing there.
Yeah.
You know, and you just like you go up to the wrong dog and you're like, okay, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
That guy's it's a blank 10,000 mile stare.
He's grabbing my juggler.
Yeah.
And I'm done.
Yeah. Just no thank you.
No, he's a nope.
Yeah, he's a hard no. Yeah.
I'm down to fight everyone at any point in time. And that would be one that I'd like seriously consider my life choices.
So I think what I was trying to say before is maybe it's like a bit more when to double down on something and when to expand, you know? So I think knowing my personality, I'll find something that I'm good at and then I'll just do that.
Like
you know,
double
like
down on it.
I'll double down on it and I'll just live in that thing. And I've done that with lots of different things and I'll get super good at that one little aspect.
In jiu-jitsu?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay,
No,
okay.
no. Not that. No.
I want to know what you're super good at.
Well, let's not say super good.
Proficient.
Yeah. Moderately proficient. But then I'll be like, I don't want to expand because it's too hard. I already enjoy this. And sometimes it's hard to push yourself to expansion, and you do wind up just going down that rabbit hole of it could be one aspect or
one dimensional.
One dimension, yeah.
And there is a point where you kind of want to double down. Like if it intrigues you and you're still curious about that subject, you should totally do it because you can always expand on it. The problem is if you've doubled down and then you don't do anything with it and you just stay there and you're like, I'm not going to look for weaknesses in it. I'm not going to build upon it. I'm not going to ask my training partner, hey, let's dissect this position. See, what would you do here?
Yeah.
If you're just like, yep, I'm done. I'm staying here. This is me now. That's when you're like, okay, well, you've went far enough.
Yeah.
Now it's time to look either in a different direction.
Yeah.
Or look for holes in that game. Or ask your training partner, hey, or ask someone that's better than you, hey, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And go through breaking it down. And that's what I do with like new positions that I think about, like, because my brain doesn't shut off. I'm like thinking about like 7-Eleven or Z-Lock, I guess is like the more common name. So I hit that a long time ago. And I was like, I wonder what I could do from here. And then I kept breaking it down. And then I would get like one of my brown belts or a purple belt or someone under me that I was like, okay, what would you do here? And like you ask them questions and they can help you like poke holes in it. when there's zero resistance there and you're just kind of holding the position rather than attacking.
Right.
So then they can be like, they have that time to think and then go through it. Joseph Chen actually has I remember hearing something about him always asking his training partners. He gets to a position that he's working on and he's like, what would you do here? And what would you do here? And then he takes it and he takes that information that he's like, that feedback, then he starts to apply different scenarios to it. He's like, okay, well, if the most common response is A,
right,
let's defeat A. And then the second most common response is B, let's defeat that. Or what's the counter to that?
So why do you have to ask instead of just seeing what they do?
Well, if you're in the moment,
yeah,
like,
right,
think when we're rolling,
yeah,
right? If I get into a position and I've stopped, most people go, he set me up.
Right.
And then you stop and then all that. And I'm sure he's high enough level that people do the same thing.
Yeah.
And you want people to give you more intelligent feedback rather than in the moment, just kind of reactionary.
Mm-hmm.
You want someone to go, what would I, like, if I had the time, what would I do from here?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that he does play around with that immediate reaction. And then he plays around with like, okay, I'm going to go slowly and then see with how they react.
Right.
And then I'm going to stop it and ask.
Totally. Yeah. It's a different dynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with him, you're working with like the highest level people.
Yeah.
He's B team, highest level people.
Yeah.
He's getting probably the best feedback that you can in a high level team.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a whole other ball game.
It goes like, it's crazy when you roll with some of the best in the world and you really like see, like, even if you're hot shit and you're like, yeah, and then you roll some of the best in the world and you're like, I'm not that good.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I love it. Like, it's the coolest thing to go with some of the best in the world and they play with you.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, I've been a black belt for 3 years. It doesn't mean much when you look at the highest level people.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah. Like I started working at the ski resort not this past season that just ended, but the season before that. And I always thought I was a pretty good skier. No, I never thought I was great because I've skied with people from around here, Canmore, Banff, and always sort of held my own, but not been amazing. But I've always thought like I'm pretty good. And then once I started working there and I just went out skiing with some of the guys that have been there for like 5, 10, 15 years, I was like, oh yeah, I suck.
There's levels to this.
Levels to things, man. Yeah. But it's a cool thing to be like, and then you see people who are beginners or who are in the same mindset of like, I'm shit hot, but I don't even know that there's other levels, Yeah. I think it's the Plato's cave or whatever, where it's the analogy of, I forget exactly how it works, but most people are like chained up in a cave facing the wall and all they see is shadows from the light coming in. And then to be able to turn outwards and actually see what's outside the cave is like a huge realization. Yeah.
It's like the Matrix thing.
Yeah.
Like when he wakes up. Like, this is the real. And you're like, what? Like, okay, so I've been in my own little fantasy. I'm awesome.
Totally.
Now I'm just another meat sack on the mats. Like,
but even like I was saying, that guy Nick coming in.
Yep.
And so another thing he said is that, and by the way, I got his contact, and he said it'd be great to bring one of the black belts from down there and him and have a podcast.
Yeah,
do a podcast.
Let's do it.
But he was saying a lot of gyms don't have like big guys, and so for me to be like, oh, because like even I guess we had Big Dave here,
yep,
but he's not been back. Carter's getting there.
He's getting there. Here's that knife in there. Don't worry, he doesn't listen to it. We're good. Can you imagine? He's gonna come in. He's gonna be pissed.
So
if he
pissed,
listens to the episodes.
But you know, for me, he's able to speak to the big guy mentality, and like it just was like, oh, a different perspective, you know.
It's awesome to have that, and that's why the gyms that don't allow you to like cross train, it's sad because you're just stuck in that same training environment.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, and that's why I love when people go and cross train other places, because they bring something back. They'll bring knowledge back, or they'll just see another aspect of the game that I'm the head instructor. Yes, I'm like a black belt, but
the Dominic Toretto of Dark Horse Martial Arts.
As long as it's a Corolla.
Corolla.
I'm a mechanic by trade. My bad. As long as it's a Toyota Corolla. And 1995, to be specific, that thing will never die. Family. Yeah. But, like, I need to go outside of this little atmosphere here to learn that, there's other ways to teach. There's other ways to learn. There's other ways to look at these movements.
Yeah.
Some clubs play gi. I guess I'll put on the pajamas.
And like for me, like with the topic of this specific show, playing to your strengths, talking to another big guy, because we just don't have that guy here.
No.
And he was like, man, you gotta lean into those aspects of yourself a little more.
I think Big Ben would be the
right. Yeah, we have Big Ben,
but he's hit and miss, very sporadic.
Right.
But yeah.
So I think you know, being able to have like you said, go to other gyms, meet people who are maybe more in your zone or whatever. And if you can find someone who you think has some of your attributes, whether that's personality, age, physical attributes, whatever, ask them how they're approaching it.
And roll with them, see how they roll, and see how that can translate. Try and pick it apart. Another great thing that you can do is video study.
Right? Yeah.
Tape yourself. Video yourself. And go, oh,
I don't know, man. I've seen some videos of myself on your Instagram post, and I'm like, ooh, no, that's what I look like. No thanks.
Unfollow.
Yeah. Thanks. I like to maintain an imagined self-image of myself where I don't look like that.
The Canadian tree stump. That's what we got going.
I was just like, I think I look way better than that. I can't watch this.
I have this weird thing where I think like my body type is the same as like Dan's or any other like taller person.
Right.
Like, yeah, that's my body type. And then everyone's like, no, you're like got wide shoulders, thick ass neck, and big ass head. I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess, yeah. So
yeah, you're not a fragile, skinny guy.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Dan is. I'm just saying you're not.
Another guy that will never listen to it.
Right.
But if he does,
I'm not saying that. So
I'm gonna let him know.
And you know, another aspect of finding your own path, I think is what's your mental resilience level. You know, a lot of people, and I think that's something that you build up too as you come back and try new things and roll with different people and learn things and get the shit kicked out of you. Building up a resilience, I think, affects your game as well.
I think that it affects how you look at the game and how you play it for sure. If you haven't had like that beat down that takes your ego and like just crushes it, you might play that like I'm gonna go hard every single round, and then you don't understand it, and then once you get crushed down, maybe you might go, I might have to rethink that. Just head forward, let's smash, kind of thing.
No, I won't rethink that.
Yeah, no, that's my game. My game. I don't change. But I think that it's a important step once you start to gain that mental endurance, let's say, and be like, okay, I can handle this, and I can also slow it down,
right?
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I guess on that note, like playfulness as well. Some people are just naturally more playful. Like I like to laugh and have fun and stuff on the mats, whereas some people are just like stone faced serious. And you get the full thing. You get people that are always laughing, giggling, talking too much sometimes, like talking too much in terms of what I personally like.
Yeah.
But that being said, I do talk and I laugh and I like just go to sleep. And I just say stupid shit, right?
Yeah.
But you get the entire gamut of it, and that definitely affects it. I think I've talked about it before, but in my first combat jiu-jitsu match, I go into my matches and I'm happy, I'm pretty playful, and then I got clipped with an elbow standing up, and I was like, and it pissed me off because it's not allowed, and I started bleeding immediately, and then I got thinking, I'm going to need stitches, and I just hate stitches.
Oh, really?
Oh, man, I've gotten so many in my life, and I just hate, like, my skin heals over them, even if it's, like, one of those dissolving ones.
Yeah.
That then they have to go back in and take, like...
That's who you look like, is Jack from the Christmas Halloween movie.
I know.
Isn't that his name? The big lanky
Jack Skeleton?
Yeah. Just like stitches everywhere.
Yeah. Dude, like I couldn't believe that I got ripped open. It made for a badass photo, but yeah, it pissed me off, and then I lost because I went, well, and he might have won anyways.
Sure.
But that definitely made me out of my game because it put me into a different one.
Yeah.
Because I was mad, and then I was trying to rush everything, and that's not what I should have been doing. I grabbed a couple of things, and then I should have just taken my time.
Getting mad never helps.
No.
I mean, it can help, but it doesn't make you feel good about your role. That's for sure.
No, for sure not a role. And in like a competition like that, definitely took me out of my playfulness.
Totally.
It sucked.
For beginners who want to like experiment safely to find their, the things that they want to expand on. I know we say this over and over and over again on the podcast, but take notes on what feels intuitive, what feels effective. And then I think the way I want to describe it is certain things will have a gravitational pull for you, where you're like, again, that makes sense to me. That feels right. That is something that I can flow to. And that's somewhere where I naturally wind up time and time again. So I think for me, it's like if I'm winding up in a spot, and I mean from a positive perspective, not from a winning perspective, not a losing perspective, you start to wind up, oh, I'm winding up on people's back. Oh, that's interesting. And then it's like, it almost feels, it gives you an added incentive to pursue further knowledge about that, because you're like, oh, I'm getting here. Oh, I'm getting here. And I know you probably kind of have said that in different words already today, but that gravitational pull,
Yeah. And I think that if you're a beginner, I mean, one, learn the fundamentals, learn how to escape and all that fun stuff. But if you're looking at developing like your style or your game plan or whatever you want to develop, there's crazy amounts of resources out there online where you can watch videos and like find someone that is close to your body style. That might be a good first step, and see how they play it. If they are bendy and you're not bendy, but they're the same body style, well, maybe look at someone else. There's so much footage of great grapplers, and great grapplers don't all have the same body type. Like if you're looking at between, we've already talked about him, Mikey Musumeci, right?
Yeah.
Gordon Ryan, vastly different.
Yeah.
Both ripped, but like vastly different body styles.
Totally.
And then You go to someone like Craig Jones.
They've kind of beefed word wise,
Yeah.
being like
About like
steroids and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. And Mikey's a weird guy. He's super nice, but then he gets on these weird tirades when he gets a mic in front of him.
Yeah.
And you're like, you're like, it's almost cringy when you hear him like yelling at someone. You're just like, it doesn't feel real. I don't know. It feels like what's his name? Henry Cejudo, the wrestler.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's kind of cringy. Like, just stick to what you're good at.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It'd be as if Demetrius Johnson started like yelling at people. It just wouldn't feel natural.
But that guy, nothing but regard and respect for that guy's approach, because he doesn't do that. He's just like, I'm just good at my sport. I show up, I win, I don't talk shit.
Demetrius?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's a martial artist.
Yeah.
He's like George St. Pierre.
Yeah.
Like none of the trashy bullshit. Just like show up, like work your ass off, be awesome, do your best, be respectful, be kind, like all the things.
Yeah. And those two, that's 1-2 in MMA for me in greatest ever.
Oh, for sure.
And then like
and Boss Rutan.
Yeah. Then you just take his head and you smash it into the
liver shot.
Yeah. And then you also got like, okay, so I guess I'm gonna come back to like style.
Yeah.
You gotta take your sense of humor. If you have no sense of humor, you're probably gonna have a straightforward style.
Yeah.
And like I love to play jokes and I love to joke around with like goofy shit like a muffler and stuff. So I work my game.
It's hilarious.
I think it is.
I think it's funnier every time.
It does. It's crazy. So I'm just going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Everybody gets a good laugh. But like, I like that. So I've actually developed.
To bring that show on the road.
I've developed game plans to get to these goofy places where I can do that.
Anybody in the audience like mufflers? Is this thing on?
Just dead silence. But I love it. I love like laughing while I'm doing it. And then like if I'm rolling with someone better than me and I get put into one of these, I laugh because I'm like, oh yeah, this is
funny.
Like. Yeah,
it's funny.
I think it's hilarious, and you're doing it to me now. This sucks, but it's hilarious.
We've talked about it probably on the podcast before, but like what I think is funny about that is how you see it coming, and you're like, motherfucker, dude. Like,
as if he's doing it to me a second time in this role.
And it's with a lot of things too, where because you make. It's like actually what you're saying about your style. How about you force someone to make a stupid mistake?
Yeah.
And I've been doing it long enough now that I know, I see it coming, and I'm like, I shouldn't do this, but and then why? But it's hilarious, right?
I laugh so hard. We've talked about Jeff a little bit, and so. He comes in the noon hours, right? And we have this thing because it's Tuesday, Thursdays, right? And it doesn't matter what day it is. Whenever I see them, it's Twister insert day.
Yeah.
Twister Monday, Twister Tuesday. And for like the last, 6-7 years, I've been hitting twisters on the poor guy. So that is my only goal when I roll Jeff.
Right.
I will let go of every submission. I don't care. I don't need any of those. I want that twister. And I just like the last time we had rolled, I found another route. He knows all the routes that I've been doing.
Yeah.
Then I found another one.
Nice.
And I hit him with it. I was laughing. I had tears in my eyes because I was like, Twister Tuesday. He's like, it's Thursday. I was like, Twister Thursday. He's like, I hate you. I was like, this is the funniest thing. Because it took me, I hadn't hit it on him in like a year and a half, and I was like, oh, it's kind of like I got to figure out another way, and then I finally figured it out on a white belt. And then I was like, I bet this will work on Jeff, and then I was like,
Nice.
hit it on him. I was like, Twister.
Dude, yeah, after that,
Oh man.
after that Nick guy showed me those pressure things, I was like, I rolled with one of the white belts on Monday, and I was like, okay, I just got to try this stuff. And it was, yeah, I was just making his life miserable. And I was like, well, it works, but not 100%, but you know, it was probably at 80%.
Yeah.
You got to do it. Yeah.
I think that's the best thing. Like at every level, you should go one level below you so you can like see if it works.
Oh, sure.
And like whenever I'm experimenting with like a brand new thing, I try it out on all the blue belts. And if it works on the blue belts, then I'll move up to the purple belts. If it works on them, then I'll try it on like Jake or Carter. And then if it works on them, like I'm golden.
Yeah,
I'll take that to a
nice.
tournament.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Another funny thing I was thinking about is how it has nothing to do with the topic, but the other day Adam and I rolled, which we don't roll that often, but we were
Watch that.
I know that's what I was gonna say is like I felt like because I think you always go a little bit harder when the coach is right there, even if we talk about it all the time. We know whether you're watching out of the corner of your eye or you're conscious of it, cognizant of it. And I felt like it was like old men, fight for me. Entertain me.
Entertain me. I even like put my phone down. I was like watching, like you both knew I was watching.
Yeah.
And I saw the escalation. Like it started out nice. And then at individual points, you both looked over and saw me looking. And then you just see the level like just bump up another notch.
Yeah.
And like I was like,
we never
entertain me.
Yeah. You old man, you are the old man, fight.
I was expecting someone to come and give me grapes.
Fight for my like what's the word?
My
like
amusement.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Fight for my amusement and approval.
You're both dead tired at the end. I was like, meh. And then I moved on.
Yeah. We who are about to die salute you. Emperor Travis. Yeah, it's just funny. Adam and I, like, because we started around the same time.
Yeah.
We leveled up. We trained together for the blue belt test. We leveled up around the same time. He does all the morning classes, so he's probably super. Man, one thing that guy, I even mentioned to him the other day, one thing that guy's really, really good at, among many things, is he'll take the lesson that is of the day or whatever, and he'll immediately incorporate it into the role, and quite well too.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely no animosity when we rolled together or anything. Just we came up together.
Yeah, it was a competitive role.
Yeah,
that's what I looked at. I was like, cool,
Yeah.
let's go. Let's see what happens. And both the movements were looking really good. It was I loved watching it. It's one of my like
I was amused.
I was mildly amused. But I love it when I can see two students that are like coming up together and then they roll and then like they start to amp it up in a nice way. Like you neither one of you are going to come out of that injured, maybe a black eye because there was a couple like flaily limbs.
Yeah, I think I took a knee to the ear for sure.
But it's like, this is a good roll. This is it's a great way to keep so many different things in check.
Yeah.
It's a good way to benchmark, see where you're at.
Yeah.
It's a great way to be like, okay, so we came up together. We've been training about the same amount of time. Where are we at? And it was similar games, but there were still differences and uniqueness amongst both.
And that's the thing. Like he's following one path. I'm following a different path. I have different attributes, personality stuff. And I think it'll be interesting in 3 years to see what his game looks like versus what my game looks like.
It's gonna be amazing. I love it. I love the idea behind it. I love, as a coach, that's my greatest thing that I can ever achieve is have students not just look at mine and go, I'm gonna emulate exactly what that guy does, because you shouldn't. You should.
People would hate you.
Yeah. Like I like to pick apart people online, and I like to pick on them.
Yeah.
And I don't recommend that for anyone that can't just like back up that shit. But like, it's cool to see people take their own routes and then just to foster that a little bit, and guide them and help them see where there's little pitfalls, what I can help them with. And then if I see areas that I'm like, ooh, they're going to an area that I'm not overly educated in, I guess, it makes me go, okay, I'm gonna go watch a lot of videos, go watch a lot of, like, I'll type in, well, I have a good grasp of who's the best in the world, what they do. Right. So I'll be like, okay, they want to learn like the front headlock system. They're more of a scrambly front headlock kind of person. Okay, let's watch Gary Tonin. Let's like pick apart that game, see how he goes. Oh, they're more methodical. Okay, but they like top pressure, and they get to the top from sweeping. Gordon Ryan. They like to enter the legs in unique and diverse ways. Okay, Craig Jones, Lachlan Giles.
They like to overdose on meth.
Emmett.
Not me.
Sorry, not Emmett, but Emmett's body style.
Emmett's jiu-jitsu spirit animal. And
we talk about it. It's Orlando Sanchez, and it's from the last episode.
And no disrespect to Orlando Sanchez.
No, that dude.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. Honestly, I loved his training style because he was just a hard nose. He seemed like a blue collar jiu-jitsu guy that could move like a flyweight.
It's crazy. Like, were you and I watching that together, or did I just watch it after with him versus Nicky Rod?
Yeah, I showed you that, like, a very Nicky,
and like Nick that Rod. Guy is like a tight, like he's like a supreme athlete.
Yeah,
and that big fat dude held his own with him athletically.
Yeah.
For the whole match.
In every aspect.
Like, that's wild, dude. That guy's 5'9" and 235.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is 30 pounds heavier than me. But like, just like, yeah, he's breathing hard, but he's holding his own against that guy who's probably 10, 15 years younger.
Oh, yeah.
And like, yeah, like a supreme athlete, like wild.
Yeah. Honestly, gone too soon. Loved watching him compete because he was a competitor's competitor. Like, he would go in, be like, yep, I'm going to implement my game plan at any cost. And if it failed, well, it failed. But he went in and he's like, I'm going to do this. It was really cool.
I'll have to watch some more of his matches, see what I can pick up.
Yeah, I highly recommend it for anyone that's a tree stump.
Yeah.
Canadian tree stump over here.
There was something else I was going to say about that guy. Oh, what's his name? The viral video with him and
Sean Strickland.
Yeah. How he like rips
mirror locked him.
Yeah, and then he's like, "Bro, why?" That was kind of shitty, right?
It was a dick move, but I think that I remember reading something about that, and it was like, Sean Strickland said jiu-jitsu's bullshit and nothing would ever work on him and all this other stuff.
I personally think Sean Strickland's an asshat, but like,
probably. Yeah. But he was saying all this stuff, and then he's like, see, watch this. And then you got Orlando Jones, and Orlando Jones is a no bullshit kind of guy. Sanchez. So, and he comes in, he's just like, no, yeah, we're going to play this game. And then he sticks his arm out. He's like, see, it works. And he jacked him up. And he's like, what now? What now? So it was kind of a dick move, but there were circumstances. Yeah. And that video started at the dick move and ended at the why you'd being like that kind of thing.
Yeah. So, and anyone who's ever heard Sean Strickland talk knows that there's got to be some context where he was being a prick.
Yeah. So, like in Orlando Sanchez just he wouldn't take the shit.
Yeah.
And like, he even took a kick from him afterwards, and he's just like, what? That's what you got? Let's go. It was crazy. But I think it's just like that camera lens. What does it look at?
Totally.
Does it look at like that soldier with the gun? Oh, but he's giving water to someone, or does it look like this?
Yeah, that's the trouble, man, with any of that shit.
All of it, man.
Yeah. And like you know, my wife has been getting more and more sort of like I would call myself pretty center politically. You know, I don't want to get into all that, but like she's been getting more and more stuff in her like Instagram feed from like really like not super far right wing stuff, but like right wing stuff, like the Charlie Kirks and the what's that guy's name, Ben Shapiro and shit like that. And it's like it's these little clips, and it's like out of context, you're like that argument actually kind of makes sense. But then if you understand, like if you have any knowledge of like history and you know like the larger picture and even like the context just previously to like that in that instance, it's like, okay, well sure, but it doesn't really hold water. And like on both we're
everywhere, man,
and it's both sides. Like you'll see it on the left, you'll see it on like what's his name, the Daily Show.
Yeah.
So they'll go up to like the dumbest people in a lineup of Trump supporters, like the obvious biggest dumbasses, and be like, you know, do you think Trump this? And they'll be like, and it's like, see, all Trump supporters are idiots.
Yeah, and then they do, like, and then the right does that with the left, and they go up to the worst people, and they're like, what do you think about this? And they're like, burr, burr, burr.
And you're like, oh man, those people are all idiots. And it's like,
it's indoctrinating, and it goes. I know of people that like just watch that over and over, and that's all they consume, and then they're pissed, and then they have a bad day. And you're like, I do watch a lot of that kind of stuff. I know that we're getting off topic, but
whatever.
It's our podcast. We can.
I wish Jared was here right now.
I know he goes down rabbit holes.
Yeah,
but like I watch a lot of it, but I also compartmentalize it. It goes into this little box. In that little time, I'm like, good point. And then I go and like watch or read the whole thing.
Yeah.
But then that goes in that box. And then that box goes somewhere in like the back of my brain.
Yeah.
So that if I ever have to pull that back up, say in a conversation, then I can. But it doesn't ruin my day. Like, oh darn, ruin my day. I'm not that guy. I really just compartmentalize everything, and it just goes into individual boxes. And it goes away. And then if someone's like spouting some bullshit at me, I'm like, here's some facts about that. And like there was this one about Carney talking about I'm gonna make all the car lifts illegal, and you're gonna have to go back to stock, and you're gonna have to take all tint on all your windows and all this stuff. I was like, that can't be a real thing. And it's a fake AI thing. It's well done, but it's fake. But I've seen it so many times, and so many people have sent it to me like, this guy's an asshole. I'm like, it's fake.
Oh, it's crazy, dude.
But you have to take that and go, okay, well, I'm going to dig a bit further. But then you get other people and like, well, I trust the science. And it's like, okay, but science is always changing. Science is this or science is this. And I have a hard time with people that are like, well, it's hard this. It's like, well, yeah, but it was also the smallest thing that we ever knew was like the particles that you see here are a grain of sand. And then we got a little bit better. And then the smallest particles that we ever knew were half a grain of sand.
And now it's my jiu-jitsu skill set.
Well, that little book.
It's so tiny. You ever watch Sunny in Philadelphia? That show?
I've seen all the clips on Instagram. I think I've seen the entire show through Instagram clips.
There's one episode where they're like pitting science against religion in like a makeshift courtroom format, and he's like, so he says something like so you know, I read the Bible or whatever, and I trust what's in there, and then he's like, and Dennis is like, the Bible's stupid, or I forget how it goes, but he's like, well, these science facts that you're quoting, where did you read those science facts? And he's like, well, there's hundreds of thousands of studies and books full of information. He's like, and you've read those books? And he's like, well, no, but so would you say that you're taking it on faith? And he's like, well, it's different. No. And then it's like, you just hear like, boom, you know, like, oh man, it's so funny.
I've seen that. I've never seen this show, but I do know that clip.
Yeah. So funny. Such a funny show. But yeah, I don't know how we got on that topic, but it's the like splitting people up and making them mad. I'll say something on the record, man. Like I have, and maybe I've even said this on the show before, I've lived in the States before, and I've lived around people who are pretty right wing, and yeah, they have their political views, and I've obviously lived around people who are left wing here and worked around and lived around, and like they're good people, man. Most people are good people, regardless of their political views, and it's like disheartening to see people forget that we're kind of all in this together, and that a lot of that shit doesn't matter. And like, just, I wish people could just like come together and like be there for each other a little better, you know?
Oh yeah. It's so easy to divide people, and it's really sad.
Yeah.
Everyone's connected, right? Everyone's connected to a phone, and that phone just bombards you with shit.
You.
Yeah, you just need to compartmentalize that and put it over. My biggest thing is, if you don't like animals, you can get out of my life right now.
Yeah.
That's my like line. If you're like, oh, animals, like dogs suck, cats suck, whatever it is, you're out. Yeah. And like, that'll be mine. Like if they're like, oh, my opinion's like, I'm left leaning, I'm right leaning. As long as you're a good person and you like animals, we can have a conversation.
Totally.
If you're only going to bombard me with your political stance, well, you can piss off too.
Yeah.
But I don't care about your political stance. We can have a debate on it. We can do all this other, like, we can have a good conversation on it if you want. But if you get mad, if you start just shouting stuff, I'm like, okay, cool. You go do you somewhere else.
Yeah.
But if you don't like animals,
yeah,
cool, you're out.
Like
that's my line. I don't know if that's a good line, but yeah, I just
I just like, when it comes to people being too dogmatic about something, just being like super attached and not listening, that's when it's like, okay, you go do you, man. Because I just like, I'll listen, you know, I'll listen to Ben Shapiro or Jon Stewart or anyone. I'll listen and incorporate it into my views, and like, if it makes sense, it makes sense. But yeah, it's once you get so far to one side that you're extremely dogmatic about something, it's just like, what's that? There's a Nietzsche quote that's like, only the madman is absolutely sure, or something. Yeah. It's like, yeah, you're a psycho, man. Like, you care that much about that? Like, anyways.
It makes your entire personality about that. You're like,
yeah. Cool. Are saying the guys that have a podcast about jiu-jitsu.
You currently a podcast about jiu-jitsu in a jiu-jitsu club.
Yeah.
Right after doing jiu-jitsu.
Right after doing jiu-jitsu. Yeah. Yeah. So you people suck.
Yeah. Be less dogmatic.
Totally random, you know, disconnection back to the topic at hand here.
Hard stop on that.
Let's get back to the episode. But you know what, to like to punctuate it,
back to the other shit.
To punctuate it, I will say, like, the message that I always want to put out there is, I think everybody's good. Most people are good, regardless of their political views, and I just wish that people could like come together a bit more, you know. That's all.
And my whole thing on this is, if you don't train leg locks, you suck.
Totally.
Yeah, love that.
Imagine meeting someone who doesn't train leg locks and hates dogs.
Oh man, I would muffler them while heel hooking them. I would find a way.
While their dog is
Yeah.
biting, your dog is biting their ass. So going back to the athletes who play to their strengths, I know this is someone that we always talk about on the podcast, or at least I always bring him up, because there's something about, I think, the classical game and the sticking to not basics but fundamentals and being like extremely dialed in. Do you know who I'm going to say?
I do.
Who am I going to say?
We're going after Hodger Gracie.
Hodger Gracie. Yeah. I think, and having that like stoic attitude, not talking shit, being a real martial artist. That's what I'm talking about. That's who I would put on a pedestal,
He, one of the greatest of all times again, and probably the greatest in the gi of all time. Undefeated in the use of fundamentals.
Right. That's amazing.
Every single thing he does, you could, like when you're watching him compete, you could read out of a fundamentals book.
Right.
And you're just like, damn. And it is so clean and crisp. And it's just everything that you would, if you went and talked to a brand new person and they were like, well, I just want to learn the fundamentals. One, to like keep me safe. Two, to be okay at this. Go watch Hodger Gracie. Right. And like Hodger Gracie's a bigger guy.
Yeah. He's must be like 6'4" or something, right?
I think so. Yeah. He's a bigger guy. So, okay, I'm going to actually put a little like asterisk. If you're a big guy, Hodger Gracie. If you're smaller, Marcelo Garcia.
Sure.
For fundamentals.
What if you're a big guy and you're smaller?
Like big this or big that?
Yeah. He's a tall big guy, right?
Yeah. And like but fundamentals wise, you'll see, because he's against other big guys, so you'll see just the cleanest fundamentals that you'll see in any kind of rolling match.
Yeah.
He's not doing anything like crazy athletic, like spinning or anything like that like parabolas or jump guillotines. It is just clean jiu-jitsu. And it's beautiful to watch. A lot of people get bored with that kind of style, which it's not excitement friendly.
Yeah.
But if you're someone that likes to break down individual movements and you can see the little minute details that he's repping actively in a competitive role, he's one of the best. Like he's one of the best to watch for that. And it is so clean. It's amazing to watch him.
And you can, I think he's another good one where you can see sort of when you listen to him talk, he's calm, he's level, he doesn't get excited, and that, like, watching his jiu-jitsu is like listening to him talk.
Yeah, it's definitely the exact same.
It's measured, careful, but constant forward pressure in the direction of his game plan. Maybe not careful, but
I would say if we're looking at like food, it is steak and potatoes.
Right
down the line. Steak, potatoes, corn on the cob. Boom.
I like this. I like the associating it with food. Okay, so what's Mikey Musumeci?
Guy's like a spicy burrito that's wrapped in something, in a pizza. I don't know. He's probably like that burger that's wrapped in a pizza, because you're just like, what the hell's going on here? None of this makes sense, but it's so good.
It tastes good. Yeah.
That's where I'd go with him.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
Gordon Ryan's a tummy ache.
Yeah.
So burrito.
Yeah. What would Gordon Ryan be?
Not too sure. What gives you a tummy ache?
Oh, like some kind of, I don't know, like really spicy like oily
Indian food. Like, what is it? Like, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna butcher it, but biryani.
biryani.
Yeah,
I don't know how to say it.
Like, I'm butchering it, but yeah, spicy. Like, get the spice level, like not white guy spice level, like Indian level.
Yeah,
Like, I've had it, and they're like, okay, what spice level? It's like hot. They're like, okay, and they give it to me. I'm like, okay, this is pretty good. And then the next time I went, I was like, and they're like, what spice levels? And like I had heard from another guy, they're like, oh yeah, they give it to you like white person spice.
Right.
It's like mild to them.
Are you talking about Spice Hut? Yeah.
And then I got them to like go like there, and like I think I like sweated out for the next like 8 hours. It hurt.
Yeah.
I was not ready.
I've gotten it pretty hot from there. I'm gonna next time I'll be like, bring it on.
Yeah. Don't do white person hot.
So what else? What else about discovering your leaning into your strengths?
I like the idea of how do you play games? Like any kind of chess or video games. What's your style in those? Because my style is definitely reflective in chess, in Go, in Call of Duty. It's always like the same kind of if I'm on the like in an offensive style position, I'm going all in. I'm all in on the offense and I'm gonna get it. But I usually start off with a defensive posture, right? Or like when I get onto the mats, it's I sit because I want to get to the action, but I don't want to like let's say wrestle the whole time, because that's not where I think jiu-jitsu is in my head. In my head, jiu-jitsu is as soon as it's on the mat, right?
Right.
But yeah, I like to play an initial defense and then build up from there. And as soon as, like, say in chess, one piece gets taken, I'm in, and then I'm like, okay, now I'm ready to go. Even if it's just a pawn, as soon as one piece is taken, that's when I switch to like high offense. In like anything like that, any games.
See, that's interesting. Like I don't, other than jiu-jitsu, I don't think I play any strategy games.
Doesn't necessarily have to be a strategy game. That's why I said Call of Duty or anything like that. Like Call of Duty, yeah, there is strategy in it if you want, but you can see, and like Danny, we played a couple of games and he was very formula oriented in like doing the mission exactly how it's laid out, not really experimenting beyond that. And that's how his jiu-jitsu was. It was very
where you were like tracking down civilians and shooting them.
Yeah. I know. I mean, it's fun. No. But like I would always like we would play Grand Theft Auto.
Okay.
And like we would do heists together. And his was always like very systematic. This is how it says, do this, do this, step 1, step 2, step 3. Whereas I'd be like, oh, and I'd experiment going one way. Oh, okay, that sucked. Experiment the other way. And I would find the absolute easiest way to get there. And yeah, he had a very like, no, we can't skip. We can't skip B. We have to do B. I'm like, we don't have to do B.
See, the only thing I've ever done in Grand Theft Auto is just drive around like a crazy person. That's
so it is like your jiu-jitsu stuff.
That's what it's like.
Get on the mats and
just like let her rip. Yeah.
But yeah, I think like how you do anything in life can replicate how you roll and can actually help you find your style. Right. You ski.
Yeah.
Right. How do you ski? Do you go, okay, well, I'm just going to point my skis down the hill and hope for the best? Probably not.
No.
I've skied with you. I was on a snowboard and it was very tight turns and like, doing the things in a,
I think a way that I would look at it is how aggressive are you? You know, like,
Yeah.
and I'd put myself sort of in the middle, not super aggressive, but not, you know, yeah.
Yeah. And so you can find ways to get to your style in other aspects of your life.
Mm-hmm.
How do you go to work? How do you problem solve at work? And some people just be like, okay, well, my manager told me to do it this way. I'm going to do it this way. And those are the people that you get on the mats. And coach told me to do it this way. I'm going to do it this way. And it's very hard to get those people out of their system unless you can find something else in their life,
Right,
outside of work, outside of whatever, to go that way. How do you paint a picture? How do you draw a picture? How do you imagine yourself outside of things?
you know what's interesting is I think as you're bringing up other sports, it makes me think that it's the people who really find their own game in all kinds of sports that wind up being the best, you know, that have their own unique take on it, that it stands out. It turns them into, I don't know. It's when you see someone who's famous in anything, in basketball, it's because they have their unique take on it, and they aren't just run of the mill doing things by the book like everyone else.
Yeah, they're going like the best people in the game go above and beyond for sure. Like,
But I mean, in any game,
yeah,
yeah,
I'm not just saying jiu-jitsu. Look at what Michael Jordan, any of those guys would do. Wayne Gretzky wasn't just like partying, like he partied a lot. Everyone knows that, but he would be on the ice practicing every single day. Crosby, McDavid,
yeah,
on the ice every single day. You don't see it. You see the tip of the iceberg when it's like, oh yeah, he's the greatest. Genetics. It's like, no,
it's work ethic.
it's worth it. And it's crazy. Like Michael Jordan, he would shoot through, like he would just shoot from the free throw line over and over until, and it's famous. He closed his eye. He's like, watch this. Closes his eyes, shoots, hits it, and he's like, yeah.
But it's those little accents that he puts on his game, and like the way he dunks the ball, and like the way he moves and everything, that if you had say it was like you know, when you have they do that thing in the movies with the suits covered in little balls or whatever, and then you can just
mocap.
Yeah. So like if you had Michael Jordan do that, and like it wasn't Michael Jordan that you saw, you'd still be like, that's Michael Jordan.
Totally.
Because you could tell by the movement, you know?
Yeah. And you see it in any of the best in their category. Look at actors. You could put a silhouette of Jim Carrey up on there, and you like instantly know it's Jim Carrey. Yeah. Even if he is in a bodysuit, just the way that he would be moving, you'd be like, yeah, that's Jim Carrey.
Yeah. Or Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. And it's insane, but they're the best, right?
Yeah.
And they've taken it and they've made it their own.
Yeah.
That's how you should define your style.
Yeah.
And I'm a big believer in video study of anyone, even outside of your sport, because they will give you little like looks into their personality, into how they play, how they do it. Mike Tyson, like in boxing, I have a crazy amount of like videos that I've just watched over and over, and I look at like the best in the world at what they do, and it's work ethic. It's putting the time, putting in the effort, going above and beyond in any aspect.
Caring about detail.
Yeah. And actually implementing it, not just saying that you're going to do something, implementing what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
I love it. And I love that jiu-jitsu, you can explore it and you can show an entire art form with your body on the mats playing this game that we play.
Yeah.
And in art, it should be an expression of yourself. in a martial art, it should be an expression of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm rolling, that's all it is, and I keep on trying to get better. I try to like perfect little things in little areas, and then I like to keep it playful and joke around and have fun because that's me.
Yeah,
and that just kind of keeps amplifying. I've always found I've done the worst when I'm like super serious.
yeah,
I can go into I go into it in a competitive mindset of I'm gonna win this,
yeah,
but I have to be having fun.
yeah. Well, man, one thing is, and I noticed I kind of did that today, in one of my roles, is when you go in thinking this person is probably better than me, rather than I'm going to feel this out and see how this goes, and like I know what I'm doing, you know.
Yeah.
You're gonna lose. It's gonna be a bad experience. And I've done that a couple times, and I'm trying to. That's a hump I'm trying to get over, is like assuming that people are better than you when they don't know either. They don't know what you. Yeah.
It's we live in one of the best places because we have so many people traveling through.
Yeah.
That we get so many different looks at so many different styles.
Yeah.
Maybe for one day, maybe for 2 months, maybe for a year, but we get definite we're in a beautiful little Goldilocks zone for jiu-jitsu where we can get all this stuff in. It's awesome.
Well, it's 10:45, believe it or not. Unless you have any other gems or words of wisdom.
No, I think that covers it. I would just try to say, one, keep writing notes. If you're just starting out, write notes and place goals. And roll with as many different people as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just be like, okay, well, this is my buddy, so I'm only going to roll with them. That's going to be stagnant. If you're wanting to develop an area in your game, yeah, then just get that guy that will always kind of have good communication with you and you understand what he's saying. But if you want to experience a new game or be open to it. Don't just go, okay, I'm going to go to my A game every single time.
Yeah.
Because maybe your A game won't be your A game 2 years from now.
Yeah.
If you experiment. If you don't experiment, well, then that's just going to be that forever. And then you're not going to get that extra look. Like triangles were my A game.
Right.
And then I got heavy into leg locks. I was like, ooh, I love this. And it just opened up all these other areas for me.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I highly recommend
the experimentation.
Yeah. Experimentation, play around with new training partners, go to new gyms. Every gym will have its own little style and play around with that. See how your game works towards it.
And be open to those little things, those little gravitational pulls where you're like, wow, this feels like something I want to explore a bit more.
Yeah. And then, and it's also, once you find something that you really like, dedicate yourself to it.
Yeah.
Not entirely, like not so blindly that you ignore everything else, but dedicate time to it to get better, to understand it to your fullest ability at that point in time.
Yeah. I think my next thing is probably butterfly. And that's where I'm headed. So.
Yeah, well, we were playing that half butterfly guard.
Yeah.
And that came from half guard. Now, yeah, butterfly is a beautiful little position.
And both of those half butterfly, half guard butterfly. And
yep. Everything just kind of goes into one another. It's very, find paths too, I guess. That'd be the other way. Find your little, don't just stay in yours. See if there's other paths and other routes, other tunnels, other vines, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But other directions that you can go from the place that you like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Other than that, I do have a free leg lock instructional on YouTube. It's like an hour and a half of free material, entries, defenses, offenses, all this fun stuff. So, yeah, offenses offend the people. But yeah, that's free. Hit us up on Instagram, Facebook. We have a little subcategory on the YouTube page. If you want to hear of any other topics, or if you're like, man, I want them to explore this. Man, I'm brand new. I want to know about this. Hit us up with a message, comment on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram.
Yeah.
We're open to talking about anything, and we will design an episode around it, and we'll go from there. But yeah, we would like feedback. So
Yeah, absolutely.
let us know what we can do better, how we can like really define Emmett's new nickname that's going to stick forever. He's like, man, I hate this.
It's okay. That's fine. It is what it is. You can't choose your own nickname.
No.
If you do, it's kind of douchey.
Yeah, totally. I hate that I got stuck with the influencer. I was like, oh,
Oh man, yeah, that's worse.
yeah, it is. Yeah, and then they put it on my walkout shirts without me knowing. I was like,
Where did that come from?
just because I was always on like posting shit
Oh,
on
man.
Instagram.
Yeah, that's
and
worse.
So then
That actually is a straight up insult.
oh yeah. So then Carter was laughing about it when he had. I was like, oh, well, guess that's just gonna be on everything now.
Oh no.
Yeah, I was like, it should be the dark horse. And then they're like, nah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think in a way influencer makes more sense for you because it's
Totally.
tongue in cheek.
I think it's funny. It's just, well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. I've met a couple people who've chosen their own nickname. And it's
Can't do it.
no, you can't do that, man.
No.
Yeah, when's the muffler tutorial coming out?
We should do it. I'll do it. Yeah. I'll put out a 10-minute video on how to hit it from various positions.
With Jason as the
Yeah. Well, it has to be Jason.
has to be Jason.
Couldn't be anyone else.
Yeah. All right.
Other than that, we'll catch you guys on the flip side.
Thanks for listening and talk to you next time.